Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and welcome to Knife AQ, episode 151 of the series where I answer all your knife questions, whether they're sharp or dull. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about my philosophy on kitchen knife buying, as well as exploring what I would pick up right now if I got to choose my own Christmas gift. Let's get into it. All right, welcome everyone. Hey, if you're new to this series, I just said welcome, so welcome again. But what we do is we take questions from the comments section below these videos and pick out some ones that we think will be interesting to talk about. So if you've got a question, you should do that. Not that. Go to the comment section below, leave your question there. All right, first question today comes from Brian Brown 4164. What's the best gift for a knife enthusiast who has a bigger budget than you? I recently received a great gift from a friend and I want to respond in part. However, my friend's budget is much higher than mine, with multiple $200 plus knives in their collection. Ideas around $50 would be appreciated. Cool. I think I know what you should do. I know what I would do in this sort of situation. And that is, rather than trying to find a knife or even necessarily like a knife accessory that would kind of stand up or stand alongside their much more expensive knife collection items, I would go for something that has like a fun and a cool factor to it that just, it kind of sidesteps the issue of getting something that like lives up to the same sort of thing they're used to. And I've got, I think, the perfect thing for it. Coming in at $40, you've got the CJRB version of the kinetic tools, which were originally released from Artisan Cutlery. This is the kinetic flip, and it is two things. It is a balisong, a butterfly trainer, technically. The reason this is not called kinetic tool is it's not a multi-tool. You've only really got the bottle opener on this, but hey, this is fun. You got a cool bottle opener balisong, but you've also got a push button here on the side. You know what that does? This is an automatic slash balisong trainer thing. And that's fun, that's cool. It's something that they probably don't own. I think these are great, and great gift options too, this time of year especially, given we are, just a week before Christmas by the time this video is posting for y'all. But there you go. Check out something like that, be fun. You know, your friend probably knows that you're not, able to afford the same types of knives that they typically collect. It's the thought that counts, and when it's something that's cool, just like this is, come on. That's kind of the tack I would take, I think, with it.
Pair it with a 6-pack.
Hey, always a good alternative, or always a good option for sure. All right, next question. Mace65 asks, or says, my parents' kitchen knife set is bad. Ruined from years of neglect. I've gotten them a few mismatched kitchen knives and taught them how to take care of them, but now I'm in search of a budget-minded full set to gift to them for the holidays. Any recommendations? All right, because you didn't mention what you mean by a budget set here, I'm going to kind of give a little bit of an overview of where I would look. I'm on record. We did a video a little while back on how to build the right kitchen knife set for you. And I mentioned if you're gonna buy a set, a block set, whatever, that I like to shoot for a minimum level of quality, expect to pay between like $20 to $30 per piece of that set when you average it out across the whole thing. Unfortunately, that, adds up quick. That's outside of what a lot of people would consider a quote unquote budget option. And if you have, let's say, like a sub $100 budget, something like this Chicago Cutlery Essentials 15-piece set does exist. It's about $68 right now for 15 pieces. That averages out to about $4.50 per piece in this set. So don't expect it to be that great. The quality of it is certainly fine for something that you don't care what is going to wind up happening to it. There's a market and a place for that type of knife, certainly, but don't be surprised if 10 years from now they're all used up, if they even last that long, quite honestly. Again, taking nothing away from what this knife is, but just expect what you, or don't have unrealistic expectations when the average price of one of these knives is $4.50. I mean, you can see it's just not going to have the same levels of fit and finish and quality that could stand up to neglectful users, just quite honestly. And especially if you've gotten them some mismatched pieces now, here and there, they might already be better than what's there. So let me show you two other options right now. They are more expensive. Again, you didn't mention what budget is, which, for some people's 50, some people's $100. But this set right here, the Mercer Zoom 6-piece set, normal price on this is about $224. And this is about, this is my favorite, current favorite knife set to recommend without going more expensive. And yeah, 240-ish bucks is a lot of money, but averaging out, even at regular price, that averages out to about 37 bucks a piece. So it's a little above the $20 to $30 baseline that I laid out a while ago, but prices have been creeping up since that video came out. On sale right now, ahead of the holidays, it's about $33.50, more or less. So that's even closer to the range right there. And it's a great set. I especially like the chef knife right here. There's no bolster here, so sharpening is going to be easier over time. It's got a nice rock to it. You've got a crown spine. The balance is nice. It's just a solid 8-inch chef's knife, and it is one of the 3 must-haves, as far as I'm concerned, in any good kitchen knife set. The other being a serrated knife, bread knife, and a paring knife here. Those are my 3 must-haves. Beyond that, I always think a boning knife and a slicing knife are nice-to-haves. This knife set does have a boning knife, and it doesn't have a slicer, but it does have a smaller serrated utility knife, which I'm not too bothered by that. That's a nice little utility blade to kind of expand the uses of this. And you don't necessarily need a slicing knife, as mentioned. It's just kind of the nice to have, and the boning knife is nicer to have than a slicer. You can do most of the slicing stuff you would need with that chef's knife. Now, this is not a traditional block, as you can see. This is a glass and metal affair. The nice thing about this is it circumvents one of the things that I don't like about most wooden blocks. I prefer a magnet through and through because they're much easier to clean than a block set. But this block set, if you unscrew these 2 wheels at the top, you can take it apart and clean it. So that kind of sidesteps that issue quite neatly. So this, any day of the week, even at its full price of $224 right now, or not right now, it's its normal price. Even at that price, this is kind of my stock answer for spend a little bit of extra and get something that is built to last. This is my base answer. One other thing to look at right now, and this is a sale that I believe is going on through the end of 2023 right here, is an actual German-made knife set. This is the Henkel's Twin 4-star 40th anniversary set. It's an 8-piece set. Normally is about 400 bucks. It's half price right now, $200 all in for this. And that averages out to $25 per piece. Even a better deal than the Mercer. In fact, a couple bucks cheaper just all day on this versus the Mercer too. For that, you get your chef knife. More traditional, you've got the bolster or the bolster style right there. So after a lot of sharpening, you might have to grind that down a little bit, but it's pretty standard of a thing. You've got the serrated knife, and you've got, there's a paring knife in here somewhere. So it's got the must-haves. It doesn't have a boning knife or a slicer, but it does have a serrated utility knife and a smaller chef-style knife, which can be especially nice for smaller hands, that sort of thing. Also comes with a honing steel and a set of kitchen shears. Kind of basic. They don't come apart for cleaning, which would be my preference. Fantastic set. Like I said, even at its normal price, it's better to buy this one as a set versus buying the individual pieces, because the chef knife, normally, regular price on this is $140 for just the chef knife. But you can get the set for $200 right now. It's a good deal. Also, if you don't have the whole set and you do want just this knife all by itself is also on sale right now for just 50 bucks, which is what, at the full $400 price of this block set, what per piece it averages out to. So there's some good deals to be had on these twin series 4-star stuff, but especially the block set, half off, $200 for that. I don't think you're going to find a better deal on any kitchen block set anywhere these days, for at least if you're intending to buy actual quality. I'll leave it at that. There you go. I hope that helps. Next question comes from Cayman723. My question is, if DCA could pick his own Christmas present from the KnifeCenter warehouse, no price limit, what's your choice? You're going to get me in trouble because I'm going to get my eyes set on a thing and then start thinking I actually need to buy the thing, and I don't need to be spending that kind of money these days. But anyway, I picked out 3 things here that I've thought about but can never justify. And that's, I think, the trick of what makes like a good gift. Something that you know someone, this is more abstract here, something you know someone is going to appreciate, but they're never going to spend the money on themselves for that item. Those things that meet those criteria, I think, really always are like the best, because they really make somebody happy. For me, this might be one of them. The Chuck Degrade... I said it wrong. Thomas is just staring at me now because he just put me on the spot. I know how to say this man's last name. I've said it correctly many times, and I always, kind of give people a little bit of stick when they get it wrong. So I apologize, Chuck. Gudreatus. Happy now?
I'm going to call him Charles.
Why not? This is the Switch Army knife. This one right here is about $1,500, and it is an automatic knife in sort of the form factor of, or at least the size of, a classic Swiss Army knife. It is a scale release knife, so push the scale back with your thumb. It's a little tricky. And once you do, there is the blade. Just over 3 inches long, CPM 154 in this case. Clip point with a high hollow grind. It's a sweet blade just on the face of it. You've got the toothpick and tweezers, always important. And it's just cool. Do I need a knife like this for my uses? It's hard for me to justify based on the other things I have that do the job that this would do. But it is just so cool, and I would love owning one. Another one that comes immediately to mind, because it's fresh on my mind, we showed this in the new Knives of the Week video just a couple of days ago. This Shirogorov of RJ Martin collaboration, the Overkill. It's like $2,500. But it's flawless. Like, everything about this, like, I'm still thinking about a couple days later. It's just, it flips like an RJ Martin custom. It's machined impeccably. It's beautiful. In fact, this could have even been on the luxury knives video we did just a couple weeks ago. Or was that last week?
It all runs together.
Last week? The holidays are crazy around here. We'll leave a link to that video up here. This has some of those same qualities. It's just plain amazing. But I think what I would wind up doing is a Randall. And right now, this Model 14 Attack CDT would be the one I would pick. It's the least expensive of these 3. It's $920. It's more within my normal reach, but it's still pretty darn expensive. So it's still something I would probably never be able to justify spending my own money on, but I would love to own it. And I would honestly, if this were to happen, I would immediately just, every camping trip I went on from now on, this would get used. I would use this hard. I would thrash it because I didn't have to pay for it. So I wouldn't be like, oh, it's so expensive, I shouldn't. Nah, man. Something about expensive knives being used makes me so happy. When they actually show signs of being used and used well, that's cooler than a shelf queen, a safe queen, as far as I'm concerned. Even though I have plenty of collection pieces that have never been used, so I'm guilty of that too. But would it make some Randall collectors a little crazy? Perhaps, but I think it deserves to be used.
Worth it.
It could be worth. Well, I'm far from a confrontational person, Thomas. Not like you, of course.
Yeah, you are.
What are you talking about? I came here for an argument.
No, you didn't.
Anyway, it would make me so happy to use, and I might even go a step further and make the Randall collectors a little more crazy. I might even modify, grind the guard at the back down a little bit, and maybe even a step further. So this is sharpened on the reverse edge, or on the swedged portion here on the back of the clip point. What if I ground that off and turned it into a drop point? Is this an impish grin? But think about it. So I was talking with Seth about this earlier. One, if I showed up to a camp out and some grizzled old guy was, had a well-loved, well-used Randall, first of all, that would make me very happy. That would be so cool. If that Randall had been modified to suit that person's preferences even more, that would make me even happier. And just, it's great, man. I love it. And how cool would it be to be that guy? I don't know. Maybe one day I'll find out. All right. Now we come to our measured once, cut twice segment, where we take a second slice at a previously answered question. And this is, I'm going to use it today to respond to someone when a couple weeks ago we were talking about rescue knives and other things to keep in your car in order to, cut seat belts and bust windows primarily in the event of needing a rescue. And I suggested stuff like the Rescue Me that I carry on my keychain, as well as CRKT's exit tool, because this sits right on your seatbelt, so it's always right there. Someone did come up with a suggestion, and I wanted to respond to that. It says, wavre cords. I got nothing. Sorry. My rescue knives are on the sunshades in my cars. In my opinion, that's the best place for availability. I would hesitate to think that's actually true, only because it may be right there when you need it under most normal circumstances. But if you were to get into an accident, they probably aren't there anymore. They've probably gone this way or that way. I would much rather recommend something that is fixed, like on your seatbelt, it's right there, or on your key ring. If you're, especially an older car, it feels weird to say older car nowadays, but if you have a car where you actually turn the key in the ignition, that's going to be right there. So if you got your Rescue Me, it's right there. I usually carry my key ring on a belt loop, so it's right there. Something that's just pocket clipped onto a sun visor, I would not count on that being there in the event of an emergency. So just wanted to put that out there. Well, now we come to our lightning round for today. Only one question in our lightning round for today. So can we actually call it a round? It's only one.
Lightning period.
Why not? Zion3143. Hey, question. What's a good knife for a party? Something with a bottle opener will be perfect. Love your videos. Keep it up. This is the part of the program where I say, please party responsibly. Knives and alcohol. Well, you didn't say it was an alcoholic beverage, but knives and partying, at least the parties I'm used to attending, don't really mix. The answer, we've already touched on it, is the kinetic tool, or the kinetic flip from Artisan Cutlery. This is going to be a lot of fun at a party. It's certainly going to be a fun conversation piece. It's got your bottle opener, and most importantly, you're not going to cut yourself or someone else when you're heavily into your party. That would be my recommendation. Check it out. Well, now we come to our final question of the day, which is, of course, our most serious question of the day, which comes today from Graham7853. Hey, DCA, what knife do you carry on the night of December 24th when you deliver presents? Well, to think about this question most seriously, the thing that would be first and foremost on my mind would be survival. Think about it. I'm going to be everywhere across the globe on the evening of December 24th, as the evening rolls around the globe. Tons of different environments, tons of different climates, and what happens if the sleigh breaks down? Survival. So, I could go a few ways with this. I've said before, like the ultimate survival tool, if you had to pick just one, would be a 12-inch machete that had a little bit of thickness to it so you could chop okay with it, but it's nimble, it's got reach, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. And I could say that for this scenario, but it's the most serious question. I don't know if that answer is serious enough. I could probably get by with, disassembling parts of the sleigh to do, make shelter and tools and everything else I need. I might be able to raid the present stash if I need something else. But one thing I don't deliver on the evening of the 24th is food. But I'm not worried about that either, because think about it. There's reindeer right in front of the sleigh. All else fails, there's a food source close nearby. What am I going to need to really access and take advantage of that food source? Some of you already know what the answer is going to be. It is absolutely the Spord carcass splitter. Bonus points if it's got the KnifeCenter logo on it. With this in hand, I'll be able to get through until the North Pole equivalent of AAA comes and gets me.
Maybe don't deliver to my house.
Too late, buddy. Too late. Well, that is all we've got for today. Could we really go, towards the end of the year without one more appearance from the carcass splitter?
It's been split in there.
Had to happen. That's all we've got for today. Thanks everyone for your questions. Keep them coming. Drop them in the comments below. Maybe it'll get featured in a future episode. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, except that Randall, the Randall will still be there when we post the video, unless it's been sold to me or someone else. But if you want to get your hands on any of these items, check out the links in the description to take you over to KnifeCenter.com. I mean, I'll say it again, that deal on that Henkel set is a pretty sweet discount right there. But check out those links below. And while you're at the Knife Center, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because whether you're buying something for yourself or someone else this time of year, you get to earn some free money to spend on a future knife. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.